The CEO Club's network events continue to bring together senior executives who are instrumental in making the business decisions that drive growth, especially in Dubai and the UAE. But it's not just about exchanging business cards and networking. It's about managing contacts and designing presentations that have a significant impact on major corporate movements that can affect business at every level. Government representatives, ambassadors and consuls general have a vested interest in regional growth, especially when their national corporations are making investments and long-term commitments.
The Ambassador of the United States of America, the Consul General of Canada, His Excellencies, members and guests, I'd like to welcome you all in the CEO Club Monthly Members Luncheon. Today we have a very interesting topic and a very good person. Our topic today is Together We Soar Innovation in Partnership and Community Engagement by Mr. Jeff Johnson, the President of Boeing Middle East. I'm very honored to have him and giving us the opportunity to hear from the Boeing point of view.
It's recognizing when a shift in corporate policy will take a major global player to the next stage of its development that creates more than a cursory interest. And all eyes are on Boeing's aerospace operations as it commits to a greater regional involvement.
I would like to call on stage Jeff Johnson. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Panos, and it's really a privilege to be here today. Your Excellency, Ambassador Michael Corbin, very good friend, thank you for coming. A new friend, Your Excellency Consul General Ross Miller. I told Ross a long time ago I actually ran the Ottawa office, and they always made me go to Canada in December and January to see if I really was committed. And I might have been committed.
Mr. Jeffrey Johnson, president of Boeing Middle East, explained how the company had taken a view of its involvement in the Middle East and, at the same time, evaluated the impact of transforming the corporation from a sales and exporter to a truly global company.
Yeah, it sure does. You hit it right on the head. And I think what's unusual in the Middle East is they don't have the long aviation or aerospace history of, let's say, a Japan or a UK or an Italy. And so it took a while to convince us to get involved in the market and really look at the supply chain. But I think when you look up the road, for instance, at Emirates, they've got over 10% of the world's 777s. So as we started to see how long we'd be here, it was time to go ahead and take a different investment philosophy.
So local alliances are very much part of your global strategy.
Right, and we talked a little bit today about the large market here in the Middle East. We just see huge growth in the airlines. You can look at Emirates, Etihad, Qatar Airways. And so, about 5 years ago, Boeing really saw the future here, and we decided we needed to act local and we needed to think long term. And so part of that was a commitment to a different investment flow. We're actually developing a supply chain here in UAE, which is exciting. We'll be delivering some aero composite structure parts out of Al Ain. And I don't think, 10 years ago, no one would have even thought about sourcing out of UAE. So very exciting.
You talked about education just a little bit, and the development of human capital seems to be quite high on your agenda.
Yeah, we are. And if you look at Sheikh Ahmed at Emirates Airlines, if you look at Homaid Al-Shamari at Mubadala, they've asked us to help excite youth into STEM, into engineering, and look at the aerospace industry as an alternative to what historically has been oil and gas. So we've been very active in that. We started an internship program. We've had our 9th Emirati interns for 6 months up in Puget Sound in the U.S. as Boeing badge employees. We also brought funded university relations to UAU, Higher Colleges of Technology, and Khalifa University. And it's exciting to go down and see these senior students doing aviation projects and how excited they've become about aerospace. So I think, we don't have a space program today that Boeing's bringing, but we're trying to create that same kind of churn and excitement, because aviation is an exciting role, and I'm living proof that you can make it in aviation and do well.
Well, talking about education now, can you tell me what the strategy is for Boeing in terms of educating young people to come into the industry?
Yeah, and we've got a couple different methods. I mentioned the internship program. We've really done that in the U.S. for many years, and now we're rolling that out overseas. We've got that program in Turkey, India, UAE, and Brazil now, and we'll continue to see it grow, I'm sure, in this region. And we've actually hired two of the interns in a competitive situation where they actually post for the job and end up winning it. So that's exciting to see. We also are doing heavily invested in Injaz Al Arab, junior achievement here in the Middle East. 13 countries are part of that consortium. And so part of that funding is we started with university students creating companies and competing regionally. Then we rolled into university students really creating some pretty impressive companies, but there was a void. So this year we're rolling out a new project with Injaz and our partners, a startup program, where we'll actually incubate some of the companies. And I think you'll see companies get venture capital. We'll bring facilities and mentors to help them. But it's an exciting time, and we'll see a year from now how well we do.
Well, you mentioned technology quite a few times, Jeff, and sustainability really is at the top of people's list when it comes to developing technology. So what's Boeing's position on sustainability?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, we're in a more for less world. So our customers are demanding more capability, more efficiency, and they want it for the same cost or less. So when we look to the UAE, to Strata, Mubadala, Tawazun for a supply chain, we're looking at ways to bring them in and disrupt the supply chain and find ways to break cost barriers and also to deliver back to the local economy.
What I was hearing is that biofuels are now playing something of a large part in the future of aviation fuel. Is that something that Boeing can help to develop?
Yeah, we really have a commitment to a green supply chain, and this is from sourcing at the mines to the jets flying very efficiently and effectively. And part of our investment to trying to get aerospace and aviation to carbon neutral by 2020 is biofuel investments. We found about 5 years ago, we found a really interesting project with Masdar Institute, with Etihad Airways, Honeywell UOP, and we actually created an institute at Masdar to start biofuel research. And then this year we really kicked that off with, I'll call it the next phase of the project, where with Etihad we actually distilled biofuels from local biomass at Trakrir, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company in Abu Dhabi. They distilled it, they tested it, and we put it 25% on a Etihad Airlines 777 and flew it to demonstrate that we could actually phase into the supply chain here. And what's exciting about that is we're looking at arid saltwater plants, salicornia, mango groves, coupled with fish and shrimp farms to see if we can create a biofuel, we'll call it ecosystem, that can compete with the oil and gas type of aviation fuel.
So at no point in this process do you take anything away from the existing food chain, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really exciting about it, because most of the other biofuels around the world have some impact on the food supply. Whereas if we're successful here in Abu Dhabi and Dubai in the Gulf, we could really, hit it, as we say in the U.S., hit a home run.
Well, finally, Jeff, you mentioned something about projects for the future. Can you let us into one or two of those small secrets?
Well, there's exciting, the 777X that we announced at the Dubai Air Show last year. We actually kicked off and launched the aircraft with over 200 orders from Emirates, Etihad, and Qatar Airways. And what that airplane will do, again, is the more for less kind of customer view that we have to provide 15 to 20% more efficient 777 than today, and we actually have to carry more passengers further. So I think you're going to see, again, a continued effort by Boeing to pull cost out of the supply chain, thus why we look to places like UAE, Abu Dhabi to help us disrupt that supply chain historically. And then, of course, we've got some exciting next generation programs that we work with around engine efficiencies and also around composite materials. So it's a pretty exciting time to be in the aerospace industry in UAE.
Jeff Johnson, President of Boeing Middle East, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, and once again, thanks to CEO Clubs. It was a great day, and I appreciate Dr. Tarek and everything he does to pull together great leaders to talk about important issues.
Thank you, Jeff.